So the next person that I get to bring up, I was on the phone with him this last week. Oh my gosh. Honestly, one of my favorite people inside the entire organization. This dude has so much fun, enjoys life. How many of you love to party?
Oh, yeah!
How many of you would like it that work did not suck? Would you like that? Like, work doesn't have to suck, right? So I'm going to bring up my good buddy, super stud, very fun, Mr. Kyle Whissel. He's going to talk to us about open house, open bar, baby. Open house, open bar. Let's bring up Kyle Whissel.
All right, guys. So what I want to ask is a couple questions to get started today. How many of you guys came here to the summit to learn how to make more money in your business? Raise your hand. All right. How many of you, Sharon, I know this one includes you, how many of you guys came to the summit to get drunk and network? Let's be honest, right? There's a lot of us that came here to do that. So I've got 18 minutes to show you guys how you can do both of those and have fun doing it at the same time. Thank you. If Tom's going to call my talk open house, open bar, then we might as well have an open bar while we do this. So I want to tell you a little story of kind of how I got to be here, how to be up on this stage. I started in the business around 2008, 2009, did a lot of short sales, kissed a lot of asset manager ass trying to get REO properties. First year in the business, I closed 24 transactions. I've always had an assistant from day one. Like Tom says, if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant. So don't be stupid. I don't care if it's day one in the business, year one, or year 10. Get an assistant, otherwise you are the assistant. Second year in the business, some of that ass kissing started to pay off. Started getting some REO assignments, some of the smaller banks that were out there. Short sales were rolling, did 42 transactions my second year in the business. Third year in the business, started to grow a team. There's kind of a limit of how much you can do as an individual, especially here in San Diego. Higher price points, we don't do the volume that people might do in the Midwest. So third year, grew a team, did 82 transactions the third year. By the fourth year, things were rolling. We landed the HUD account, we landed a Fannie Mae account. We were consistently closing 200 plus transactions in our business. Then 2013 came and we started to see the writing on the wall that REO was falling, that short sale was falling off, and we knew we had to make a change in our business. So for me, it was time to switch over to traditional. And when it comes to going after a traditional business, like Eileen was talking about, you've got to play to your strengths in this industry. If you're uncomfortable being on the phone, the thought of cold calling people gives you, hives and makes you freak out when you think about cold calling, then you probably shouldn't go after FSBOs and expireds and circle dying. That's probably not for you. If you're not techie, you don't have to do what everybody else does. You don't have to go and do SEO and pay-per-click and Facebook and all of that marketing. And if you're uncomfortable being in front of a camera, you've got a face for radio, whatever the case may be, you probably don't want to go after video. That might not be for you. So for me, my strength my entire life has been throwing parties, whether it was high school, college, after college, today. Some people are coming to a party we're throwing tonight. That's always been my thing in life, is to throw parties. So you want to play to your strengths. And so I've been coming to these success summits for a number of years now. And Tom's always talked about the mega open house, all the things that you do to prep for it. And then the thing that really struck a chord with me was when he talked about doing the neighbors only open house. And he talked about doing it an hour before the actual open house gets going. And, having it catered and stuff like that. And that's cute and all, but that's not a party. So I wanted to make it into an actual party. And so the first time I did this, it was 2014. So my first year shifting over to traditional business, got my first listing in my farm. And I just decided I wanted to go all in, and I wanted to do something to be memorable. I wanted to make sure that I did things completely different than anybody else has done them before in my neighborhood. And so what we did is we planned our first open house. We called it a neighbors only wine and cheese open house. We did it from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock on a Friday. That's right when everybody's typically going to happy hour. It's been a long week. Everybody could use a drink at that point. So we did it from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. The first one I did, I had about 20 people come to the house. And again, we were supposed to end at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock came around, I still had a dozen people in the house. 7:15, 7:30, I still had a dozen people in the house. Everybody was having so much fun, I literally had to kick everybody out of the house because the owners were coming home. And the best part is people started planning an after party for my open house. It was amazing. Everybody was like, well, let's not stop partying, let's go to my house. And I was like, wow, I'm onto something here. This is something different, this is something really cool. So what I want to do is start getting into the slides and show you guys a little bit about how we plan these events, how we put all of this stuff together. And the thing that's most important when it comes to open houses or marketing in general is you don't want to rush it. You want to take your time with things. Too many people, they go on a listing appointment today, they get really excited. Half of you guys still take pictures with your iPhone, and I make fun of you in my listing presentation. But half of you guys, you go on the listing appointment, you're so excited you got the listing, you break out the iPhone, start taking pictures, put the property on the MLS the next day, set up an open house on Saturday, and you show up with 4 or 5 signs, and you hope people are going to make it, and nobody shows up to your open house, and you go back and say open houses are stupid. Well, the only thing that's stupid is you, because you're missing a huge opportunity. So first thing you want to do is pick the property that you're going to do the open house on. Obviously, in a perfect world, you're holding your listings open. But I know some people might be newer, some people might be new to going after listings. So you want to go after specific properties that are going to do well with an open house. Some of the keys, the normal, good location, 1 or 2 turns off a busy street, that obviously rings true. Also, doing your open house the first weekend the property hits the market. When the most eyeballs are on that property, that's when you want to do it. Trying to do an open house on a stale property that's sat around for 2-3 months, it's probably not going to be that effective. And the thing that I've found is actually really, really important is picking a house that has some unique features to it. Here in San Diego, most of the homes are built from the 50s and later. There's a few homes built in the 20s and 30s, but almost everything is built in the 50s. They're ranch style, Mediterranean, Spanish style homes. That's about all we have here in San Diego. We had a listing recently that was a Cape Cod style home, which is extremely unique for San Diego. We did an open house there. We had about 100 people come through that open house in a 2-hour window. And every single one of the people that came through that house was a neighbor, or what I like to refer to as my future sellers. So those are clutch. We did another one at a house that had an infinity pool. A lot of people have seen pictures of infinity pools, but not everybody's seen one in person. But when you do an open house and there's an infinity pool, everybody in the neighborhood wants to see that because everybody else is thinking about doing an infinity pool just like that. So picking the right property is crucial. Next thing is picking the right kind of party. In my neighborhood, there's 4 breweries within a 1-mile radius. So in my neighborhood, we can get away with doing like a beer and wings party. We've done beer and pizza. That works really well in my particular neighborhood. I don't know if you guys realize this, but you're about 10 minutes from Mexico right now if you hop in a car. So there's some neighborhoods in San Diego where there's a lot of Mexican flavor to them. So doing something like tacos and margarita can work out really well in the right neighborhood. Or the easiest one is wine and cheese. Go to Bevmo, buy a few boxes of wine. You get the 5-cent wine sale. You buy a whole box, you get another 10% off. Good discount. And just buy in bulk. And those are the easiest parties to throw. We maybe spend $200 on the wine to throw one of those parties. Especially if you're in a luxury neighborhood, spend a little bit more, spend some more money, have it catered, have some music, have all of that stuff. But really set the stage and have a fun party. Next step is mailing out invitations. I guarantee you 99.9% of the people on this earth have never received a formal invitation to an open house before. They've gotten them for weddings, they've gotten them for graduations, but they've probably never received one before for an open house. So this is something, and you're going to notice a theme here, is be memorable. Do things that nobody else does in this industry. We use Vistaprint to send out our invitations. I'm sure there's a million other websites you could send those out on. But sending out a formal invitation in the mail is going to be something that nobody else is doing, and it's really going to make you stand out from the crowd. And again, because if you're rushing things, you're not going to have time to make an invitation, have it mailed out, and all of that stuff if you're trying to do an open house in 2 days. So it's important to plan. If you sign a listing today, the earliest that listing should be going active and you having an open house is next weekend, not this weekend. There's not enough time to put together a solid open house. Next step, door knocking. In our office, we have 2 different types of door knocking. We refer to hard knocking and soft knocking. What hard knocking is where you physically walk up to every single door one by one, knock on that door. Hey, Mr. Owner, my name's Kyle Whissel. We're doing an open house right across the street from you at 123 Main Street. Want to invite you to come by. We're going to have wine and cheese. I hope you can make it. And just roll with it. The problem with hard knocking is you can only cover so many houses in a limited amount of time. So what I like to do is just hard knock the immediate neighbors, maybe 10 to 20 neighbors, because those are the people that are going to see your sign every single day when they're leaving for work, when they're coming home from work. So those are your most likely future sellers. We also will soft knock the neighborhood, and that's where you're going around with a flyer, inviting everybody to come by, but you're just door dropping them. If somebody's in the garage, out on the front porch, in the yard, playing with their kids, whatever the case, those are the people you want to strike up a conversation with. That way you're getting a good amount of conversations, but you're covering a lot of ground at the same time. Next up, circle dialing. For us, we use COLE, C-O-L-E, Realty Resource. You put a pin on a map, draw a circle a mile around it. I give that list to my ISAs because I hate cold calling and it makes me get hives when I think about it. They draw a circle a mile around it, load it up into Mojo, and they rip, and they'll call 2, 3, 4, 500 people and invite them to the open house. Next step, social media is huge. What's cool, Facebook recently changed things to where you can run an ad, not just to a zip code and a radius around it, but you can run an ad to a specific address and a radius around it. So Brian, my media guy who's up here in the front, will record an actual invitation video to the open house and speak directly to the neighbors in that video, because we know only the people within 1 mile are going to see that video. In addition, Facebook groups and Nextdoor are huge. If you don't have a Facebook group for your community, start one. If you don't have a Nextdoor community for your neighborhood, then start one. And post the actual events on those. So go on there and post a full-on Facebook event page, and that'll automatically invite all the neighbors. When one neighbor responds that they're going, all the other neighbors are going to see they're going and they're going to want to go. And it really is huge. And you want to just pitch it as, come check out this cool house, meet all your neighbors, and have a drink while you're there. People love that. It's social. People don't know their neighbors, and they see this as an unintimidating way to get to know their neighbors. In reality, what they're doing is coming to an event that they're going to remember because they've never seen that before. It's to the point now where when one of my signs goes up, I start getting calls and texts, hey Kyle, when's the party? Which is amazing. I love that, right? Next step. Seems simple, but make sure you put it on your MLS, make sure it's on Zillow, make sure it's Realtor, Trulia, all of that. Here in San Diego, if we put it on the MLS, it automatically syndicates to Realtor. Zillow and Trulia, our MLS doesn't get along, so you've got to manually put it on all of those right now. But make sure it's out there. Tons of people are searching online, looking for open houses on an average weekend. Next step, this is key in being memorable. You want to do an open house booklet. We use Cloud CMA. So instead of just putting an MLS printout at the property, which I've been a realtor for a long time and I can't even read those things yet, so don't give those to consumers. Those things are like hieroglyphics to consumers. They don't know what the hell is on there. So give them something that they can actually digest. With Cloud CMA, what we can do is we'll give all the info on the property, how the whole home buying, home selling process works, info about local schools, local restaurants, all kinds of information, and it's in an actual booklet format, almost like a magazine. That's something they're going to take with them and they're going to remember. It's all about being memorable with this stuff and doing things that nobody else is doing. Next up is open house signs. I think one of the number one reasons people aren't doing open houses is because they don't want to put their signs up. You don't have to put your signs up. If you're putting your own signs up, you're stupid, flat out. There are tons of kids in high school on Craigslist, TaskRabbit. There's plenty of people that will happily put signs out for you for minimal amount of money. Okay, so don't be afraid. Go on there. We find people between 50 and 100 bucks. We can get all of our signs put out. Depending on the property, we're doing between 50 and 100 signs at an average open house. At my main intersection where I do mine, I normally have 30 signs at one intersection. So go overboard when it comes to the signs. And when you do your signs, don't go overboard with the amount of information you put on there. A lot of people put way too much information. They put their name, the brand, open house, their Facebook login, their YouTube, their phone number, their face, their Tinder profile. I mean, they put everything on there. You don't need all that crap. If you've ever, pay attention to this moving forward, when you see a billboard, there's typically 5 to 7 words on a billboard. And those are gigantic. Those things are like 50 feet wide. And they're only putting 5 to 7 words on there. So why are we putting 20 words on an 18 by 24 inch sign? Think about that. You want to brand yourself. You want them, again, to remember, be memorable. Make sure they remember your name. Make sure they remember your brand, your colors, all of that. But you don't need to go overboard. And don't put your face on there. Nobody can Google your freaking face. They can Google your name, but they can't Google your face. This isn't CSI. So get your name or get your face off of your signs. Next up, partner with your lender, or what we refer to him as our bouncer. Don't do an open house without a door person. You must have somebody at the door. It doesn't do you any good to do an open house if you don't get anybody's contact information that comes through. I don't necessarily want to share leads at every open house I do. I don't have to share leads if I have a lender. If I partner with another agent, then we've got to figure out, are we doing an up system? What are we doing? How are we going to divvy up the leads from this open house? Having a lender at the front door, I give them an iPad, Open Home Pro, it's a must, and they don't let anybody in the door unless they sign in with that Open Home Pro app. And if you think that putting a piece of paper on a counter and people are going to actually go and sign that crap, you're crazy. They're not going to sign it, and if they do, they're going to scribble it to where you can't even read it if they even give you the right information. So start using Open Home Pro, and don't be scared and think people aren't going to sign in. Everybody will sign in. We get so many more valid signups by using Open Home Pro than we ever did before when we were using paper. And then it's cool having a lender there, is if somebody does want to refi or has some questions about moving up or moving down, they're there to answer them. Next step is, once the party gets started, be memorable. Make sure everybody there is having a good time. That's your job. Make sure they have a full glass, make sure they've got some food, mingle, bounce around the crowd, work everybody, make sure you know who they are, ask everybody what's your name, what street do you live on, and try to get something memorable about them and write that down. I'll usually keep a little booklet in a drawer. I'll go back as soon as I'm done talking to somebody, write their name, I'll write down what street they live on, and then I'll write down a quick note about them. So that way when the open house is over and I'm following up with them, I know what to connect with them on. And then here come the two most important parts of your entire open house. As soon as it's done, the beauty is you paid somebody to take those signs down for you. So your open house is done, and you can go to that after party if you want to. Or you can go back to your house or your office and you can upload all of those new leads that you just got into your CRM. As soon as I upload them, I'll send every single person a video with BombBomb, and then I'll also send them a handwritten card with send out cards. Because you want to make sure to jump on it, make sure it's fresh, and they're going to remember you. You're doing so many things. You've door knocked them, you've mailed to them, you've door dropped, you've done so many things. You want to make sure these people never forget about you and you're top of mind when the time comes for them to make a move. Last step, it's all about the follow-up at this point. So I already talked about what I do the same day follow-up, but then we like to put every single lead or future seller into Market Snapshot. It's a top producer move.com product, and it'll just send them an update once a month. Let them know what's going on in the market, what homes are selling for, help them get a rough idea of what their home is worth. By giving information to people, they see you as a valuable resource. So we put them on that. We've partnered with Viral Marketing, a local company here in San Diego, VYRAL Marketing, and they send out videos twice a month for us. I just sit in front of a camera for 5 minutes, record a couple videos. They do everything. They upload them to YouTube, drop in backgrounds on the green screen, put them on our blog, send them out to our database, send us a report who watched them. It's great. So we're hitting them 12 times with Market Snapshot. We're hitting them 24 times through Viral Marketing. And then we do 4 client appreciation events a year. We call every one of those, so there's one per quarter. We call every single person, invite them to come to those. And it just really helps you stay in touch and stay top of mind and be memorable to all of your future sellers. So at the end of the day, like I mentioned, we were doing around 200 deals a year when we were peaking out at REO and short sale in 2013. Our first year transitioning over to traditional real estate in 2014, our team finished the year ranked #1 in the entire county by the Wall Street Journal. And in 2015, we're on track to close 365 transactions, which is 1 transaction every single day in 2015. That's my talk. I like old fashions with Buffalo Trace vodka, and I will not sleep with you if you buy me one.
What are you guys doing on Sunday? Party at Whissel's house, right? So who's up for a little party at Whissel's house? Yeah!